Welcome to the Susan LoPresti Wellness, Mind, Body, and Soul podcast. This is your go-to space for midlife and mature women who are ready to reclaim their health, boost their energy, and live long, vibrant, and purposeful lives. Each week, we dive deep into natural wellness, holistic healing, anti-aging strategies, and healthy lifestyle habits to help you feel your best physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Whether you're navigating menopause, working through chronic conditions, or simply wanting to age gracefully and intentionally, this show is your sanctuary for science-backed insights, powerful stories, and soul-nourishing inspiration. If you're a woman over 40 or 50 or older looking to thrive in the next chapter of your life, you're in the right place. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce you to a guest whose work aligns beautifully with the mission of this podcast, Dr. George Ibrahim. Dr. Ibrahim's work at the Biltmore Restorative Medicine Center on vitality, longevity, and comprehensive wellness is a powerful overlap with the ethos that we embrace here. So many of you are searching for effective, science-backed ways to age gracefully, feel good in your bodies, and address sensitive yet universal topics like hormonal shifts, sexual wellness, and energy changes. Dr. Ibrahim brings decades of experience treating both women and men through a truly integrative, restorative lens. He is the author of Sailing Through Menopause Without a Rudder, and he has dedicated his career to helping people navigate these transitions with confidence, clarity, and dignity. He is known for his innovative Restore More approach, advanced treatments for erectile dysfunction, and male girth enhancement, as well as his deep expertise in hormone optimization. Beyond symptom relief, he educates both women and men on how hormonal health influences heart disease, Alzheimer's prevention, bone health, energy, libido, weight management, and overall quality of life. Dr. Ibrahim is also a leading voice in the treatment of stress, urinary incontinence, sexual wellness for all genders, and physician-guided weight loss. His work is grounded not only in science and innovation, but in compassion, and he delivers these topics with a rare combination of honesty, warmth, and empowerment. With an audience of over 10,000 Gen X men and women invested in long-term well-being, this conversation is especially important. If you are looking for ways to age vibrantly, strengthen your intimate health, and better understand the workings of your hormones, you are in the right place. So let's dive in. Dr. Ibrahim, welcome to my podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today, and I can't wait for us to dive into this powerful and very informative conversation. Dr. Ibrahim, for listeners who are new to your work, can you share what inspired you to focus your career on restorative medicine, vitality, and longevity?
I started off as a urologist, and I was a Duke clinical professor for over a decade, but I had multiple sclerosis. And eventually, the multiple sclerosis got to where I felt it would be unsafe for a patient for me to operate. I was having problems with repetitive motion. So I retired, got an MBA, did some other stuff. I was bored. I love medicine. And there was this other OBGYN who had been doing bioidentical hormones from the day that they came out. And he was playing golf with one of my fraternity brothers. And he was talking to my fraternity brother. He said, "Hayes, every time I turn on the radio or open the paper, there's another damn hormone doctor out there. They don't know what they're doing. They're unethical. They overcharge. He goes, I want to make a business of teaching other physicians how to do this correctly because he'd been doing it from day one. And my fraternity brother stopped his backswing and looked at him and said, I got you somebody. He's a dick urologist. He's retired. He's bored. He'd be perfect. And the two of us hooked up and we ended up not going into business together, but that's just how I learned was from this retired OBGYN who'd been doing it since day one. And I started doing hormonal medicine for men and women in their middle ages. And once people started to feel better and be interested in one another and things like that again, they wanted to look better. And they kept asking me, who does this? Who does that? And back then there was no med spa on every corner like there is now. And the plastic surgeons and the dermatologists were busy doing their own thing. And I said to myself, I go, heck, if I can make a bladder out of small bowel, I can figure out, I can learn how to do these injections. And so I went to courses and brought in some instructors and learned how to do the aesthetic side of things. And that's how it all got started.
Wow. Very interesting. So many people believe that hormones are only about menopause or libido. Can you explain the broader role of hormones in heart disease,
I mean,
Alzheimer's
oh God.
prevention?
Yeah. So in the way I look at things, people talk about how your hormone levels go down because you age. I go, no, you age because your hormone levels go down. I'll give you an example. In med school, we were doing a hysterectomy on a younger woman. She was in her 30s. Total hysterectomy, taking out her uterus and her ovaries. Take them out, and I'm wheeling her back to the recovery room, and they tell me to put this estrogen patch on her when I get her to the recovery room. So I take her to the recovery. Go back to the OR, we're doing another case. I'm wheeling my second case back into the recovery room. And my first case, that woman is going crazy. She's thrashing everywhere. And I put my hand in my lab coat and I took out the estrogen patch that I forgot to put on her. I
Oh,
stick it on her. Go back to the OR. Do my third case. I'm bringing my third patient back to the recovery room. My first patient is on her way out, but now she's calm, cool, collected. So this 30-something-year-old had gone to sleep on the OR table feeling like she was in her 30s, but she woke up feeling like she was in her 70s. So it makes a big difference. Why are these hormones important as far as your health? For a woman, estrogen is the most cardiac protective thing she can ever do for herself. A woman's risk of a heart attack before menopause is essentially nil. After menopause, it becomes identical to a man her age. Identical. That's
wow.
huge. Osteoporosis. A woman doesn't stop eating calcium-rich foods when she turns 45 or 50. No. The loss of estrogen is what leads to loss of bone density. Estrogen is what causes our bones to mineralize. Osteoporosis kills when they fall down, they break their hip, the hospital, they get pneumonia, they don't come out. So just those two things. I could go on and on, progesterone and breast cancer protection. At the end of the day, hormones are what we were our fittest when our hormone levels were at our highest. And that tells you everything.
And it also affects brain health and
Absolutely.
yeah. And just by taking hormones, so bioidentical hormones
Yeah,
is what you're
absolutely.
referring to?
Yeah, we would anything else is, to me, is blasphemy.
Yes.
The NIH years ago realized that menopause was a big health problem. And the ages of women around menopause correlate to when the government has to start paying for the health care of people. And so then I decided we got to do something about this. These women are costing us a lot of money because their hormone levels are gone. They're having heart attacks, they're breaking their bones. We need to we need to do a study on giving them hormones. So they rounded up about 30,000 nurses to give them hormones. It's called the Women's Health Initiative. But we didn't have human hormones. We were using synthetics and horse hormones.
Yeah.
Permanent, the number one drug in the history of the world is literally named from where it comes from, pregnant mare urine. They named it Premarin, pregnant mare urine. The study was a disaster. We were given synthetic hormones, we were given horse hormones, we were giving them the wrong way, and women started having all of these blood clots and heart attacks and cancers, and they stopped studying, put this huge big flag up saying hormones are horrible. That study just got blown out of the water about what, 3 weeks ago, when they totally recanted and said, no, hormones are actually fantastic. Horse hormones and synthetic hormones are horrible, not human hormones.
Wow, it's incredible.
Yeah.
What would be some very early signs that a woman needs hormones?
Yeah, y'all heard about it, the perimenopause symptoms, hot flashes, vaginal dryness. Those are the two early things that start to happen. And I'll tell new patients, I go, now, if you want to use lube as part of the fun in the bedroom, that's one thing. If you need to use it, I need to know because I need to adjust your estrogen dose. Hot flashes, that's one of the first signs that tells you that your estrogen levels go down.
Yeah.
And progesterone actually goes down before estrogen goes down. And progesterone can have a bunch of these same symptoms. If you look at the symptoms and the hormones, they all intertwine with one another and everything.
So it doesn't, if you have hot flashes, it's not just about estrogen. It could be a
It's
combination.
usually about estrogen, but it could be progesterone.
Right.
Yeah. Because we'll have a lot of women that are coming in feeling like this, but they're still having periods. Now, the periods aren't regular. And so some days are making estrogen, some days are not. What we'll find is we put them on progesterone, and a lot of these symptoms will either go away or become a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Progesterone turns out to be a perimenopausal woman's best friend.
Do women need to stay on these hormones for the rest of their life, or is it
Why
just
wouldn't
through?
they?
Oh,
Just the
okay.
fact that the cardiac protection is so enormous, and that heart disease is the number one killer of women. If estrogen is one of the best things a woman can do to protect her heart, why would you not stay on it the rest of your life?
Right.
All the studies that talk about limiting the number of years were based on the synthetic and the horse hormones, not human hormones.
Okay.
Now, and this might be interesting for your listeners. Men and women today, our bodies are really not much different than caveman. Caveman lived to his mid-30s max, caveman and cavewoman. They had their babies when they were around 11 or 12. They stuck around. Humans are one of the only like three species that live to grandparenthood: elephants and killer whales. The rest of the mammals die while they're still able to reproduce. But only three female species outlived their ability to reproduce. So our bodies were designed to stop in our 30s when we were still fertile. But
Yeah.
today we live to 100 because we've got food, we've got sewage, we've got vaccines, we've got clean water. But our bodies really were not designed to do that.
Wow. That's very
Mhm.
interesting. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to go on to talk about your book, Sailing
Okay.
Through Menopause Without Losing a Rudder,
Yeah.
has resonated with so many women. What are the biggest misconceptions that you see around menopause and hormone therapy?
That there's no reason that a woman has to take it because menopause is not fun. And it's not
No,
and it's not fun for the woman, but it's also not fun for the family. I was around somebody before I started this practice that went through menopause.
not pretty.
It's not pretty. And the idea that women have been told for forever, it's just part of life. You'll get through it. That's nuts. You don't have to go through that misery, nor should your family have to go through that misery of you being deprived of a human hormone that your body used to make. It's not a drug. A drug is something that's foreign. Your hormones are what your body used to make, but you're just outliving your gonad's ability to produce them.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was going through perimenopause, I went to see a doctor and he told me it's perfectly normal for a woman your age to feel like that. And I thought, okay, you're not the doctor I
Yeah.
need to
And, and,
see.
and and I would go, using the word normal in the same way that we would use the word commonplace. Just because this is what women were going through doesn't mean that no, it's normal to have periods, in my opinion.
Right.
It's normal to be making hormones. this idea that it's okay not to have any hormones in your body, that makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So you believe that if a woman, even after menopause, is still on bioidentical
Yeah,
hormones, it's going to help her to stay younger, feeling
uh,
better?
it's definitely gonna help make her feel better. It's going to protect her heart. Like I said, the number one way to protect a woman's heart is through having the proper hormones. It's going to protect her bones, things like obesity. You can look at pictures. I could go to somebody's house and see pictures on the wall of a woman, and I could tell you when she went through menopause. What happens? A woman loses the ability to make testosterone when she loses the ability to make estrogen, progesterone. Okay. Testosterone is what a woman needs for muscle. So the recipe for muscle is real simple. It's going to be protein in your diet, some kind of resistance training, and testosterone. So the woman who's in menopause with no testosterone, I had a woman, I can remember this, it's in the book. She's sitting in front of me. She goes, Dr. Ibrahim, look, I'm not a closet eater. I know wine's got 150 calories. I count that. My personal trainer used to come once a week. Now she comes twice a week. I'm still going to the gym all the other days out of the week. And she stands up and she puts her hands up beside of her and she goes, nothing's happening. Well, her testosterone levels were undetectable. She
Mhm.
could kill herself working out and not be able to put on any muscle. Without testosterone, she's not going to add muscle. Now, muscle burns calories 24 hours a day. So if you put on a pound of muscle, it's going to be burning calories just while you sleep.
Wow.
That's how you lose fat, by burning calories. You burn calories by adding muscle. You can't run your way to thinness. And that's one of the biggest benefits of hormone replacement for menopausal women is adding testosterone, much less. It's phenomenal to get rid of the foggy thinking. It's great for their libido increase, which leads to a happier marriage for most couples. And the muscle mass is going to burn calories.
So I'm thinking about traditional medicine, like conventional medicine. They don't offer bioidentical hormones. You need to go to a functional medicine doctor, and now it's an out-of-pocket expense
Mhm.
because insurance doesn't cover it.
Yeah.
But the way you're laying it out to me right now, it should be covered. It
It
should be
they look,
considered.
yeah, the insurance considers getting older not a disease, and they only pay for disease. We all know about how they don't like to pay for preventative things, but once you
Yeah,
get it, they'll pay for it. Makes no sense.
yeah,
They're not.
it's backwards.
Yeah, yeah,
It is.
and and here's another reason why you don't hear much from your other doctors. There's no money in it for pharmaceuticals. They cannot patent the hormones because our creator created the
Right,
molecule. So there's no money in it.
right.
So there's no pretty sales rep coming by the office and bringing lunch and finding a way to spend 10 minutes to try to push a product on me. So the traditional doctors don't get exposed to it. In medical school, we learn about the names of the hormones, but we don't learn how to use them.
Right.
All the journals are published through the money from Big Pharma. And they're not going to be paying for the journal to publish a paper on a product that they can't make any money off of. That's the reality of everything.
It's a crazy, broken
Mhm.
system
Mhm.
that doesn't make any sense. They want you to be sick.
I won't go that far, but I don't disagree with you.
Yeah. Sexual health is something that many people feel uncomfortable discussing. Why is it so important for us to normalize these conversations, especially in midlife?
People, yeah, we talk about being healthy, and we talk about a sexy health, a healthy sex life. So we've been using the word healthy and sex for years. I, there's no question that people, let's just say couples, that find themselves that they have more intimacy once they get older tend to be healthier. They take more pride in how they look. That's why I have the aesthetic side of my practice. These people, men and women, who had gotten fat and fallen asleep after dinner, and sex was a birthday and anniversary, and that was it. All of a sudden became interested in one another, and they wanted to look better for one another. And people having sex tend to be more healthy. And you can look that up. Google Scholar is a great resource. It's a search engine for scientists. Google Scholar. You put in sex life and morbidity, and you'll see that people having more sex have less diseases.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. You developed some innovative treatments for erectile dysfunction and male enhancement. How did these treatments differ from traditional approaches?
So what is like the recipe for an erection? It's going to be blood flow and neurological impulses, nerves. Our body has our platelets in our body. Everybody learned in biology that platelets help you stop bleeding. Okay.
Mhm.
But our creator designed platelets figuring if you're bleeding, then there's some repair work that's going to need to go on. So platelets have all of these growth factors. So when platelets arrive at a place of injury, they release these growth factors to help grow more nerve endings, more blood vessels, muscle, whatever's been messed up. Platelets are going to stop the bleeding, but it's also going to help repair things. All right. So if you take somebody's blood and you spin it at a proper spin speed, you can separate the platelets out and get a concentrated volume of platelets. Now let's go infuse these platelets in the penis, or in the female, we're going to do it in the G spot and the clitoris. And the man, when we put it back into the penis, and we've done some other things like some acoustic wave treatment to activate the areas to call on the platelets to release their growth factors. What you're going to see is a man's going to have better erections, more firmer erections. He's able to get erect more quickly. You might be able to go more than one time in an evening. The sensation is going to be better. He's just going to have a younger erection, is the best way to think about it. The female, when we put it in the G spot, one of the best things it does, this is huge, urinary incontinence. So many women leak when they cough, sneeze, laugh, jump up and down. They don't even think about it as being a problem because their mother did, their sister does, everybody that they walk with do. No, it's crazy. It's called stress urinary incontinence. You don't have that happen. I used to do surgery on women all the time to fix this. Now, you put some platelet-rich plasma up there in the G spot, that's the area where the urethra is. The vast majority, if they're not cured, they're demonstrably better. The vast majority don't leak at all afterwards. And
Wow.
guess what? It increases their sex life because women start to have G-spot orgasms. And then while we're there, we always ask the patient, because there are a few women that come in there, and the only thing they're interested in is the incontinence. But most women, they're going to say they're interested in both the incontinence improvement as well as the sexual improvement. So now we'll add it to the clitoris. It doesn't hurt. We've got ways of numbing it. And what you hear is when my staff gets to do everything that we do here, and I've heard them say this to the patients. They'll mention how their orgasms have longer legs, and they have different ways of describing it, but it's a great way of increasing orgasmic capability without drugs. No drugs.
That's interesting. What are the most common sexual wellness concerns that you hear from women?
Excuse me. The vast majority that see me are going to get on hormones. So they might have come to me earlier and painful sex, dysmenorrhea. And the painful sex is almost always due to a lack of estrogen.
Mm-hmm.
The vaginal tissues get much thinner due to lack of estrogen. Putting them on hormones is the easiest way to remedy that part. The other things, I'll see women who have difficulty having orgasms. I've even had some that have never had orgasms that we were able to help them become orgasmic. And that would be through the platelet-rich plasma treatments as well as hormones. Testosterone helps a lot with that. We have a prescription cream. Now it's called, we called it Scream Cream at one time, but we had to change the name to Bliss Cream. But it's a vasodilator. The whole purpose of foreplay is to increase blood flow to the genitalia in both men and women.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bliss Cream is essentially foreplay in a tube. And a lot of women love it. They still like the foreplay, but it really increases it. And yes, we make sure that they all know it's non-toxic. In fact, we even flavor it for some people. But that's another one of our medical sex toys, as we call them.
Interesting. Are there restorative therapies that you believe will soon become mainstream, but currently underutilized?
The biggest that I can see are going to be the hormones.
Yeah,
That recent report that shot down the Women's Health Initiative, the big black box warning from the early 2000s, that recent report is going to get a lot of people realizing, okay, we've had our heads in the sand. And I think that there's going to be more and more primary care doctors putting at least women on hormones. Men have always seemed to be able to find a provider that will put them on testosterone, but women
yeah.
were having a hard time getting providers to put them on estrogen. I think that's going to change.
I hope so. I hope
Mhm.
so. I wanted to go on to talk about weight, energy, and lifestyle for a
Okay.
moment. So you also guide patients through physician supervised weight loss. What makes weight loss in midlife different, and what approaches do you find most sustainable?
The biggest thing, like I was saying earlier, is the loss of testosterone in both men and women. So women, when they get into menopausal age, can go to zero. Men are definitely going to be lower. In fact, men peak around the age of 25. By the age of 50, 100% of men are at half of his testosterone levels he had at his peak. By the age of 60, he's at 1/3, and by the age of 70, he's at 1/4. So this lack of enough testosterone in both men and women decreases their ability to put on muscle. Muscle's what's going to burn calories. No muscle burning calories means you can get fat. And that's big. That's why you see people getting fat around middle age.
Yeah.
So we tell patients that come to us for weight loss, we go, okay, first of all, let's look at your hormones. Yeah, we're gonna talk about drugs like Ozempic and tirzepatide, but for the long haul, you really ought to be thinking on what's best for your body, and that's going to be making sure you've got the correct hormone levels. Now, I'm going to switch to the GLP-1s.
Yeah.
I think they're going to win a Nobel Prize. I What they've done as far as treating obesity is amazing, but every day there's another study out on benefits that have nothing to do with obesity. Alzheimer's, cardiac protection, cancer protections. Cancer doesn't like sugar, low sugar.
Right.
Yeah. So so I'm a fan of, okay, let's put you on this dose till you get your weight off, go down to what you want to weigh. And then let's cut your dose at least in half or maybe to a quarter and microdose it and get some of the benefits that these things that we're seeing from these GLP-1s unrelated to weight loss. I think they're so safe. People talk about muscle wasting. Okay. Yeah. But most of my patients are going to be on testosterone. They're not going to waste muscle. So that what muscle wasting can be a problem, but if they're one of my patients, more than likely they're already going to be on testosterone. We don't see muscle wasting in my population.
So for someone who does not need to lose weight, would
I
you
love it.
still?
Yeah. Yeah. Put them on
Oh,
tiny dose. We use the
tiny.
word microdosing. Yeah. Is there any science on what is microdosing? No. This clinician might say one half of the therapeutic weight loss dose. Somebody else might say 1/4, but at a dose not designed to take off weight necessarily, but hopefully still benefit the patient.
Fatigue is also a very common complaint
Huge,
among
huge.
women over
The
40.
top two things on my history and physical form that we might as well just fill out: fatigue, difficulty losing weight. I don't know how many thousands of patients I've seen in the 13 years I've been doing this. I think I've only seen 4 histories that did not check those 2 boxes. Testosterone, phenomenal,
For
phenomenal
fatigue as
fatigue,
well.
huge, both men and women, huge.
Wow.
It's the best thing. I don't write for amphetamines. But we're taking care of people's fatigue every day.
That's incredible. For someone who's listening today who feels off but doesn't know where to begin, what are the first steps that you would recommend they take?
I'm licensed in almost 20 different states. We encourage people, go to our website, biltmorerestorative.com, or call us at 828-505-2885. And there's a good chance I'm licensed in your state. If I am, I can do a lot of stuff over the phone. Trying to find physicians such as myself, there's a referral base out
Yeah.
there. There's too many people. Literally, you'll see journal advertising listings. Come to Orlando for the weekend. Start your hormone practice on Monday. And I'm not going to say anything negative about that, but let's just say it took me a lot more than 2 days to learn how to do hormones
Yeah.
correctly. Yeah,
I'm with you on
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Let's stay
Yeah.
away from them. Any final thoughts you'd like to leave my listeners with?
I'm assuming most of your audience is mostly women. You do not have to take this. You do not have to take just losing your hormones as way of life. No, you don't. Way of life is what you were like when you were younger. There's no reason why you don't keep it going. And then your husbands, they go through what's called andropause, fall asleep after dinner, belly fat, inability to get it up, erectile issues. A lot of guys today have grown up with Viagra commercials, so they are comfortable seeing somebody like me because they understand it's okay for a man to have a problem. Some of the older guys were very reluctant. Oh no, I don't need to do anything. Where but his wife's seeing me, and now she's really wanting to have fun in the evening, and he's not worth anything. So men are also candidates, and I think as men and women get older, both of them doing it together is huge because then they both have the energy, and they want to have more intimacy, and they actually care more about one another. And women, believe me, a man on testosterone is way nicer. A lot of people think he's going to get me. No, men on testosterone tend to be so much nicer because they care. I mean, it's a big. Women will come back and go, "I was so afraid when he was getting on testosterone. I thought he was going to be so aggressive, but no, he's so loving." And I hear that all the time.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Very good. It
Thank you
was
so
such a
much.
pleasure to have you on. Thank you so
Well,
much.
Susan,
I
thank you so much,
appreciate it.
and I hope I helped you and your listeners.
Yes, you did. And I will put all of your information in the show notes as
Okay,
well so they
thank you.
could go and find you and learn more about you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me for this powerful and eye-opening conversation with Dr. George Ibrahim. I hope today's episode gave you clarity, confidence, and maybe even a sense of relief, knowing that aging doesn't have to mean slowing down, losing energy, or accepting discomfort as your new normal. Dr. Ibrahim reminded us that our hormones, our intimate wellness, and our vitality are not topics to shy away from. They're essential pieces of our long-term health, happiness, and longevity. The science, the solutions, and the hope are all there. We just have to be willing to explore them. If this episode resonated with you, I encourage you to share it with someone you love who may be navigating hormonal changes, low energy, or concerns about aging gracefully. These conversations matter, and they help all of us move through midlife and beyond with more empowerment and less fear. As always, thank you for being a part of this beautiful community of mind, body, and soul wellness. Until the next time, continue to nurture yourself, honor your body, and embrace your journey with grace and intention. I'll see you next week.